Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's me, Andrea Jackson, your life coach. Great morning to you. We're going to start admitting some people in the group. On yesterday, we talked about making new friends, starting a whole course of putting new people in our circle of association, as well as our circle of influence. So today we're going to be talking about repairing friendships. So we're going to go ahead and start admitting some people in. Hold on. Looks like Bianca's chiming in. She's getting her audio together. Okay, well, she's getting that together. Again, just want to say good morning. Thank you so much for chiming in. When we're talking about um repairing relationships, we're taking accountability on things that's been broken. I don't want to repeat everything. So I'm going to try to wait for some others to chime in this morning. And Ms. Bianca is going to get her audio situated. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Good morning, Miss Susu.
Good morning. I just had to step out. I thought I had volume down. Good morning to all. I'm just going to be on listening
Okay, good morning.
in the lab.
Okay. I see Miss Bianca's just situated her audio. Good morning, Bianca.
Good morning.
Wow, we sound bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and you don't even drink coffee.
I am that.
Awesome, awesome. Awesome. Well, while you were connecting your audio and while Miss Susu was calling in, me and our subscribed callers were just having a little conversation on how important it is to repair relationships. And that's what we're going to be talking about today after I check in. So we're going to go ahead and check in. Miss Susu said that she's taking care of some business. And she'll only be listening in today until her appointment is done. So in the meantime, Miss Bianca, looks like it's just you and I. So go ahead and check in, and as others are calling in, we'll go ahead and check in with them. But as of right now, go ahead and check in, and then we'll start our lesson.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I am doing well this morning. My mental state is good. I have decided that I am going to get up, dress up, show up, and never, ever, ever give up.
Woo-hoo.
That is my motto, and I'm sticking with it.
I love that. I love that motto. And I think we all should have some type of motivational motto that we live by. So thank you so much for sharing yours with us. Let's see. I don't want to overlook Miss Susu. Miss Susu, were you available to check in or no?
Yes, I can check in.
Oh, good. Go
Hey,
right.
I'm feeling good and I'm up and about my business. Pray to God I can complete this and get this behind me. I
Yeah.
had a rough day yesterday, but hey, I'm ready and going forward on today. This is a new day and I feel good.
Hey. You guys are so motivational. You guys are so awesome. Thank you so much for checking in this morning. This morning, we're going to be talking about repairing relationships. I have a series of questions that I'm going to ask, not a series, should I say, but just a few. And as you guys know, my questions are not basically yes or no, check the box, questions to put on your to-do list. But the questions that we have are to make you think, to expand you, to enlarge you, so that you have a greater capacity within you. And that's room for change. Room for change. Because if we're stuck in our own way of thinking, if we're stuck in our own silos, if we're stuck in our own head, what happens is nothing can get in and nothing is moved to circulate to get out. So this morning we're going to talking about repairing relationships, and it all has to do with making amends. Now I know you hear making amends more so in the 12-step recovery groups, in the walls of 12-step and things like that, and it is a very important thing. But also as a believer, the word of God speaks expressively on confessing your faults. It talks about freeing yourself, but not only freeing yourself, but also being accountable to another person, that their freedom may begin. Sometimes another person's healing is based on you taking accountability of your actions. So in order to close doors of our past, because lots of times we want to pick up and move on into our future. Oh, I'm changing these unhealthy behaviors, and I just want to go on. But the wreckage of our past will always be there unless we address it. Now, there's some things that we can address that is going to come out just a-okay for us. They're going to be like, wow, I was just waiting for this moment. I dreamed of this just last week, and I just thank God for you. There'll be some moments like that. But then there's also moments where it's like, you know what? I don't care what you've done, what you've changed. You know what? You do you, and I'll do me. And you know what? And that's an acceptable. We have to learn how to accept that. Why? Because making that amends, although it does help the other person, our primary reason for making the amends is for us. It's for us, because I have to be free. I have to be free to live. I have to be free to change. I have to be free. I've held myself accountable to them that I've hurt. I've held myself accountable to the things that I've altered. Have held myself accountable for the people whose lives that maybe I have altered. I cannot change it. That's your course. But at the same time, I'm being accountable for not only my healing, but for yours. Are some people going to be in acceptance of it? Not at all. And there are some people that would downright refuse you or even not even believe you. But guess what? We're making the effort to repair relationships, because in repairing relationships, we're healing ourselves. But I see that Miss Jenny just checked in. We haven't heard from Miss Jenny in a while. So I would like for Miss Jenny to go ahead and check in with us, please.
Good morning. Good morning. Hi, how are you, Miss Jackson?
Good morning. I'm well. So good to hear from you, Miss Jenny.
Well, thank you so much. I'm doing well. I'm improving a little. As I was thinking on this morning, I noticed that I've been getting a better balance and walking a little better, and gripping a little harder. So it's getting better.
It's coming
It's
along.
getting better. And emotionally, it's kind of a up and down kind of thing. But other than that, I'm okay. As I stated on last week, once I start praying, it gets better. It gets better. Yeah, I pull on the Lord for just about. I pull on the Lord for everything.
Yeah.
And when I do, He's always on time. So it's good to be on the Zoom, and greetings to everyone, and you know also, in my mind is just, been watching the news, just seeing a lot of, murders and little bad things happening. It's like it's a little, I won't well, it's not depressing to me, but I feel for other people, period.
Yeah.
What they go through. So I just thank God that, uh that even those on the line right now, we're safe, and but other people are going through so much, so we just gotta keep on praying.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for that, Miss Jenny. You're absolutely right. There's a lot of things that are around us that are happening, and some in our own homes, some in our own neighborhoods, in our communities. But the only way that we can bring change, the only way that we can walk out the objective of the Lord Jesus Christ is to follow his instructions, complete our assignments. And the best way to complete our assignment is to work on self. We're here today because we're making ourselves better. We are improving in our way. We're investing in ourselves. I can't do anything for anyone else if I don't invest in myself first. And guess what? What you invest in yourself is just like the word of God says, commit to other faithful people. Commit to other faithful men, commit to other faithful individuals, commit that to your children, your associates, your spouses, your cousins, your in-laws, committed to anyone that will take this charge and run with it, because then they too will change and they too will begin to carry the mantles where they can also commit it unto others. And before you know it, we're affecting a world just one person at a time. So we feel, but if you let God use you, then God can use the next one and the next one. It's all about succession. It's all about mentoring. And that's why we're here, because we want to be better so that we can be used by God. We want to serve him as he has served us. And I thank you for your check-in, Miss Jenny. And I'm so glad that you're doing better and you're feeling better and you're feeling the improvements of your healing. Thank you so much. And with that being said, we're going to improve today. We're dealing with our individual self, but we're going to also step out and improve people in our community by repairing relationships. It might be our personal community. It may not be our community of where you live, but our personal community. People that are compulsive or unhealthy behaviors have affected, those they have harmed, those that they have caused problems with. We want to make sure that we can identify these things so that we can move forward and improve a community by repairing relationships. We want to improve the community of our heart so that we can spread this love abroad. So my first question today to you will be, what are some of the past behaviors you might want to make amends for? And improving relationships, of course, I'm being accountable. So that's my amends. I can't be accountable if I'm blaming others, if I'm still pointing my fingers at everyone else. You made me do that. If it wasn't for you, this and that you did is the reason why. No, this is when I get to a point where I'm being accountable for my stuff and I'm accepting what I've done and I'm owning it, because the only way I could change it is if I own it. So now that I'm owning it, what behaviors do I want to change in order what behavior, am I making amends for? What is it that I might need to repent to someone or ask their forgiveness for? What behaviors do I need to make amends for? Please go ahead, unmute your phones and share. Anyone want to take a stab at it? Our compulsive or unhealthy behaviors have harmed someone. If it's only that, not only, because again, anything that we've done that's unhealthy, believe me, it's affected someone else. One of the things that I hear a lot of people say that are parents, even though I did this or I did that, I did drugs and alcohol, I didn't hurt nobody but myself. And we all know that that's not true. We all know that drugs and alcohol affect our loved ones. That's where we even see about where enabling comes from, because an enabler is trying to keep the addict happy. So they do things for them that they wouldn't necessarily do because they're just trying to make them feel content. So we all identify that there are some behaviors, even if I just wasn't there for my child, that's something that maybe I need to make amends for. Maybe if I wasn't the best wife, I wasn't the best daughter, I wasn't the best mother, maybe I took money, maybe I lied upon lied upon lied, and I was a bad example. What are some of the behaviors that you might want to make amends for?
Bianca, for me, I know there was times where manipulation was a thing.
Mhm.
And really going first of all, identified it.
Yes.
First and foremost, identify it. And when I identify it, second of all, don't just sweep it underneath the rug.
Yes.
Like, oh, well, well, I did need, or whatever the situation may be. So identifying it, and then, like you said, making amends to the people and stop the very action of it.
Yes.
Stop the very action of it. And sometimes because it's become something that you have done day, week, month, years, that thing becomes something that has been embedded on the inside of you. So sometimes even when you don't realize that you're doing it, but you are.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things for me is really coming to terms that there was a time when I was a manipulator.
Yes.
I wanted something. I would say I didn't have it in order that they may give to me,
Yes.
And so with that being said, like I said, apologizing, but also stopping the act.
Mm.
Stopping the act. Because I could apologize all day long.
Yes.
But if I don't do something about the very act, I'm just giving you some words. So have to come to the mindset that I have to turn away from that very thing.
Yes.
I can't continue in that very thing. Because again, me making amends and apologizing, that's all. It's just me saying some words to you.
Yes.
And deep down in my heart and in my mind, I'm trying to figure out who the next one.
Yeah, next opportunity, next victim.
Yeah, who the next, and what I'm gonna use this time to get what I want. So that would be a thing. And then you realize manipulation brings on lying.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
They brothers and sisters.
Yes.
Because you lie, you manipulate, so you lied about it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that's another thing. Not only just finding out that particular word, but what are some of those other words that go along with it?
Yes.
Those compound words that go along with it, those root words that go along with it.
Yes.
And dipping those things, start cutting those things also.
Yes.
So they will die.
Ooh.
So that's what I would say. So today what I really watch it. I watch myself.
Okay.
I really watch myself. And what has happened to me, because I walked in that form, sometimes it's hard for me to even receive.
Okay.
Because I walked in that form. So again, it's kind of a mind thing for me. I don't want to seem like I'm manipulating, even though I'm not saying, oh, well, Bianca, do you have food? Well, just leaving it wide open. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When I know
Pulling on
whole,
someone's compassion.
right. I got a whole full of food that's almost freezer burned. But because I don't want to use my money,
Right,
I'm gonna use your money.
right,
And
right,
hopefully you'll give me the money.
right.
And you won't say we going to the grocery store. Hopefully. So what had happened is it caused me now to kind of like, it's hard for me to receive. I've gotten a little better with it, but sometimes it's still a hindrance for me to receive because of the thing that I did in the past. So working through that, try to get my healing, complete healing from that, So yes, that would be what I would say.
Awesome. Thank you, Bianca. Thank you for kicking this on off. Because sometimes we may think, well, what I did isn't so terrible, so maybe I don't need to make amends for it. But even the internal identification and acknowledgement that I was manipulating, it is what it is. And like, I love how you talked about those connections of behaviors that come from the manipulation, whether the lies came first or the manipulation came first. We don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg, but we know that it was a behavior that you weren't trying to hurt anyone, but maybe it was a behavior of survival, or maybe you was trying to hurt someone. We don't know what our behaviors were from until we identify them, until we find out where's the root cause, and then kill it at the root. And I love how Bianca talked about the importance of stopping the behavior. Once you acknowledge it, then what? Then what? She acknowledged the behavior and then challenged herself to stop it. And that's a whole nother stage within itself. When the opportunity to manipulate come up, somebody call or they're trying to give you some money, and you want that money, but at the same time, they're offering it to you. And I'll use her example, like for food, you got a whole bunch of food in there, instead of just saying, oh, you got some food, I have some money to give you, for some food, oh, well, I don't, she identified it, and then she had to make a decision what to do with it at that point. And she decided that I'm not going to live this manipulative lifestyle. Manipulation is an open door to be used by the enemy. If you lie, you steal. If you steal, it goes on and on and on, because it's like the domino effect. You're opening one door that leads to another, that leads to another, and we're falling in so many different demises of our character, and we're opening doors for the enemy to come in and use us and possess our gates. So thank you so much for that. We talked about on Sunday, we talked about those learned behaviors, generational curses, all those things, and how we break them. Well, we identify, just like Miss Bianca said, I have to break it in me first. I can't stop something from overflowing if I'm a conduit of it. I have to stop it in me first in order to break it. I have to purge my surroundings from those things so that I can break those things from happening. But if we never identify it and make amends for it, then it's impossible to break. Anybody else? What some other behaviors that we have on the line that we may need to make amends for? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
Well, what others are thinking, I wanted to say this, to the point that my son's father, didn't live in the house. We wasn't together or whatever, but he wanted to make sure that his child was well taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the things that I used to do,
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of even hard to even like accept things from him. And even though I had a child by him, and the child was underage and everything else, and it was his responsibility to help with that child as much as I possibly could. But there was times where I even had to go and get counseling to find out, hey, you think this is right for me to let him buy some food for? do you think this is right? Because what I
Done in the
had
past.
been doing. So it, like I said, it kind of made me always think back to that particular place of manipulating. Even though, like I said, there was nothing wrong with him taking care of his child
Right.
at all. But because of what I done, where I came from, how long I played the game, it was
Right.
something that I really wanted to check myself and to make sure, you know what, I'm not still playing this game because I am receiving something from him because his child is here.
Mhm.
So yeah, I just wanted to say that too.
I thank you for saying that because that shows that you were in recovery. You know, one thing about recovery, we talk about that argument. Excuse me, guys, I have stray hair that's trying to get away. We talk about that argument that we call it a losing argument. Have you ever had your old behaviors to come into play when you're trying to walk in new behaviors, and those old behaviors come to challenge you? Well, through therapy and counseling and just an effective intentional mindset of change, we find ourselves want to be so far away from that we examine ourselves when these like situations happen, because now we feel the atmosphere of I'm gaining from somebody. We feel like, and like you said, I'm so glad that you went and got counsel because it was a part of your healing. You wasn't manipulating. You know, it was honorable for the man to take care. It was his responsibility to take care of his underage child. But at the same time, like you said, because of your personal past behaviors, you have feelings about them. And I just want to identify that to the people, because as you're going through these healing processes, you will find that you're going to have different feelings and experiences concerning your past behaviors. It's just like someone withdrawing from drugs. Even though you've gone through the withdrawal, you're in recovery, there's going to be some times when you're going to have some situations that's going to look like, you know, hey, you should do this. It'll just come up that, you know, this is a solution when it's not. And so we have to counteract that with our tools. And so what she had to do was counteract that with counseling. And I love that. That's a part of healthy healing. If you're fasting, when you're fasting, let's say you went on a 3-day fast, the day that you go ahead and take a bite of bread, you're going to automatically feel guilty. You're going to have that guilt because you've practiced this behavior for so long that anytime I go against the behavior that I practice, the good behavior that I practice, my mind is going to say, warning, 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 you violated. Oh no, that has an expiration date. And now I'm moving on to another part of my life. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Bianca. Thank you. Anyone else before we move on? Any behaviors that we need to make amends for?
Yes, this is Susu for a minute. So, yes, my behavior, as you all know and have heard, was that enabling and concern. And sometimes I'm learning though, it's hard to separate, enabling and concern sometimes, And then, like say with me with the self-talk, I've learned from these classes, and I think I'm coming along pretty good. It's still a lot of work because, like I say, this has been for years, maybe decades, for sure. But but it's kind of hard, you feel like the need is there, but then you think back from what you heard. Is this helping the person, allowing the person to help themselves or to go through, you know? So I have to catch myself on that though, but I'm learning and it's going to take steps.
Yeah.
But then, as I say, I'm improved because I can say no now, I might come back a little later, but no, I got to self-talk, talk to myself, about this. And I'm getting a little more firmer in it, but with love,
Yeah.
sometimes I have to wait to, say the words that I want to say, instead of just jumping in right then.
Mhm.
So that's me. I'm still working on that enabling, but because it hurts others so much, and it hurts you too, so
Yeah.
I'm working on that.
Hey.
God bless you all.
God bless you, Miss Susu. I love that. I love that. Like she said, I'm not professing to be anywhere except where I am. And that's a wonderful place to be. I love that because we're acknowledging where we are. We're acknowledging our process and we're acknowledging and identifying what's going on with us so that we can move forward and make healthier steps. So I love that. But I want to bring to light what she said. Sometimes identifying, like she said, one of her unhealthy behaviors is enabling. But there's a fine line between enabling and concern. And as we continue in our recovery process, we begin to identify the fine line. And I love how she said, one of the things that she do, a process in her mind that she does that she didn't get from us or no one else, she got from herself, is that, is this helping the person or enabling the person? Before she jumps to do, before she try to make any identification, how do I identify this fine line? So she goes through the self-talk, the compassionate self-talk, and she goes through, okay, is this helping the person or is this rescuing the person? Is it helping them go through their process and learn? Am I teaching them how to fish or am I just continuing to meet their needs? You know the old cliche, you give a person a quarter, they'll eat for a day. You teach them how to fish, they'll eat for a lifetime. And it's not verbatim how that goes, but the concept is, if I keep giving to you and giving to you and giving to you, I satisfy your need for that day or that moment, but I don't allow you to be taught how to survive for a lifetime. So I love that, how she has a whole moment that she takes out and processes what she need to do or not do. I thank you for that, Miss Susu. We're going to go to our next question. Are there things you neglected to do or say that you need to make amends for? So we want to take a look. We've talked about the behaviors that we have done that we needed to make an amends for. Now, is there some things that we did not do? And I'm gonna give you an example. I had a client some odd years ago who she was bound by the disease of addiction, and she was deep in her addiction to the point where she was just stricken. She was paralyzed. She couldn't, she would see things that need to be done. She could see things that needed to, that she needed to give her hands to. And, but she couldn't because she was paralyzed by the activity of her disease. Well, one day while at her family's house, she saw a family member approach another family member who was a child inappropriately, but she was so consumed in her addiction that she couldn't even, she didn't have the wherewithal within to say, hey, wait a minute, don't do that. That's not appropriate. You know, she wasn't in the fullness of her being, and she neglected to protect that child. So even though the child may not know she was there and could have done something, and the family member may not have known she was there to even be shamed by, she was powerless in her disease. Now, this example, of course, may be a little extreme, but it happens every day. What is it that we neglected to do? What is it that we neglected to do that we need to make amends for? Maybe you weren't there to raise your children. Maybe you were so consumed in sexing, gambling, lying, this, that, and the other, that you weren't there for your family. You wasn't there for your responsibilities. In every relationship, there's needs and responsibilities. So even though I have a need from my family, I also have a responsibility to my family, to my employment, to my school, to my team, to whoever it is that you're responsible to. So what's some things maybe that you neglected that you need to make amends for? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
Bianca.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just asking, are we thinking, or do we understand the question? I was just going to see if I needed to expound more. Please go ahead.
Well, I think I may have it, but you let me know.
Okay.
So What was the question?
What's some things that we neglected to do? Earlier,
That's
we talked about some things that we've done, some behaviors that we've done. Now let's talk about some things that we should have done but didn't.
okay. So having a big family of children, um, and trying to do the best that you could.
Mhm.
And with that being said, there's always going to be a child that maybe be left out, intentionally or not intentionally.
Mhm.
Sometimes you just don't have all that to go all the way around, right?
Absolutely.
And so, with me, I tried to do what I could do, but I found out that one of my children felt um, that I lacked in that area
With
of
that,
giving them all that they needed.
okay.
Um, and so that was really a really hard situation for me
Mhm.
because as a single parent, you really, really do try. But
Yeah,
again, realizing that you're not going to meet every expectation
right,
of your children.
right.
Because sometimes they have you way up there,
Yeah.
like she could do this and she could do that and she gonna do this and she gonna do that. And, you know, and a lot of times it's way out of your reach
Right.
that you can't do. And then sometimes you just don't have the energy, the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding of how to do it.
Right.
So, with that being said, there was one of my children who felt like they was lack. They just got kind of tossed to the side.
Mhm.
Um, and so there became a big wall in between us. Respected me to the highest.
Okay.
Respected me to the highest. I never really heard nothing bad about me in the streets or anything like that.
Mhm.
Um, but with that being said, also, I know that the relationship wasn't where it was with the rest of my children.
Mhm.
So it became something that really weighed on me to the point that, again, I had to talk to somebody with tears in my eyes. What did I do? What should I do? What could I do? And then going back and kind of just going back through life
Yeah.
just to see did I miss something along the way. Again, I got 5, so I'm not the Lord. My eyes is not all over the earth, beholding the good and the evil at all times. So just wondering, where did I miss out at? But it came a day because even with that, let me say this, even with that wondering all that, I was angry.
Mhm.
I was hurt. I was frustrated because to me, I felt like I did the best that I could,
Right.
you know. And so to get this kind
Type
of
of response.
response
Yeah.
back, it was like, what? Wow, really? And so with that being said, the opportunity came one day that I just took off the frustration, the irritation, and all that, and just kind of called. And we just was having a normal conversation because again, we didn't conversate every day, every 2 days, and nothing. It'd be months, and
Okay.
we wouldn't conversate with each other. So this particular day, I took the opportunity to apologize.
Okay.
Now, at this point, I really don't know what I've done, but
Okay.
I know that there is a wall between us.
Mhm.
So let me try to make every effort to keep the peace here.
Okay.
So I took the opportunity to apologize for anything that I've done to you
Mhm.
that I may not be aware of, or some things that I may have done that I felt like was necessary at that time.
Mhm.
Because I was a very strict parent, very strict. Because I believe if you don't stand for something, you definitely will fall for anything.
Right.
And I had 4 boys.
Ooh, okay.
So I had to really be hardcore with them, or they'll have me sitting up in a corner somewhere. So I did what I felt like I needed to do. But anyway, I took that opportunity and made that phone call, and we talked, and I began to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for whatever I done that may have put you in this place that you in today. And when I said those words, we was on FaceTime, the tears welled up in their eyes. So I see that I had began to penetrate through that wall that had been up. And if I had said this months, years ago, then maybe we could have squashed that really, really quickly,
Yeah.
But thank God that he gave me the mind to even do it. Because sometimes as a parent, we think we right.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm the parent, you the child, I'm right.
Yeah.
You wrong, sorry. But he gave me the opportunity to sit down and really think about the thing and to apologize. And like I said, I see the tears form up in their eyes. They began to say that, thank you. And then they began to open up and begin to share some things. Some things I wasn't even aware of.
Right.
Because if I hadn't been aware of, it would have never, ever, ever happened.
Right.
So some things I was held accountable for without even knowing that it was taking place.
Okay.
But because I'm the parent, you should know these things. Again, I don't know everything. So, but like I said, after we talked about it and everything, I think our relationship came back even better than it was before all that.
Wow.
Before all of that, all the walls was up, people that was talking in their ears,
Wow.
telling them that I don't love them, telling them you are the black sheep of the family, telling them you see how they treat you, you see how she treat the other one. All this kind of stuff was just magnified, bigger, 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 bigger in his mind, in his heart. And it just became where it was just a stone wall. There was no penetrating. There was no penetrate. But like I said, after I apologized, after we set everything on the table, I believe that our relationship is even better than it was before that particular thing came into existence. So again, that's what I have to say on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I love that. I love that. As we're talking about repairing relationships today, that's wonderful. I have a question because we see the power in making that amends. Even in her sharing, we see the power in making that amends. When she gave accountability and apologized, her child openly received and they had a happy ending. They had a better relationship. But I wanted to ask, what are some of the behaviors that you apologize for? We talked about some of the behaviors that we do that we need to make amends for, but what was some of the neglect that you needed to apologize for in his life?
Not being there when
Okay.
he needed me to be there.
Okay.
Not showing the love that he needed, because each child needs something different from their parents.
Yes.
Each child, and the thing about it is sometimes we look on the outer appearance of our children and we think that they're strong and all this kind of stuff. Even as a child growing up, you kind of look around and you say, oh yeah, that one right there. Oh, he got this. He got this. You know what I'm saying? But in reality, that's not the true fact. They just as vulnerable as the ones that's vulnerable also. So
Right.
I apologize for not being there. I had to apologize for not showing the love that he needed,
Wow.
but not
Love that.
opening up to him, because there was a lot of things that I had, a lot of things that went on with me that as a parent, I could not voice that to you as a child, because I'm trying to protect you also. So I don't want to say being a protector, because that's what I was supposed to be in his life, but maybe
Maybe
overprotected.
how,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe
So
how we protect it.
right. So
Mhm.
being a little extreme with that, you know,
Okay.
and because those prior to him was kind of like more of a settle, more of a obedient. So it wasn't a lot of work that has to be put into them per se, but that particular one took a whole lot more,
Mhm.
you know, headstrong, do what I want to do, different things like that. So I had to be more harder on that particular one.
Oh,
Of course, you don't understand that growing up.
right.
It just looked like you just picking on me, or you
Just don't
favoritism.
like me.
Other ones, you know, you love them more than you love me. So those were some of the things that I had to apologize, whether they were true or whether they was not true.
Mhm.
My thing here is I need him to feel good. I need him to feel the love. I need him to feel the peace. I need him to feel that he is loved, not forgotten.
Yeah.
So whatever it took, I was willing to make that sacrifice for him.
Awesome.
So
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Miss Bianca. Awesome. Anyone else? Anyone else? What are some things that you may have neglected to do that you need to make amends for?
So I believe me with my children growing up, as they were growing up, I was there, but it was in a manner I didn't like the way that uh, I was kind of like their friend or partying with them and stuff like that. So I think I need to make amends from that. I've told some of them, they said I did all right though, but that's what I'm thinking about.
Okay.
So, like I say, this is a class that make you think. You look back. What did I do or what didn't I do? I was there for them as much as I could, but it was in the good and the bad way. Partying with it, that wasn't good bringing up a child. It's more like your friend and stuff. And so that's for me. And I should have been more there for them.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Miss Susu. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Identifying those things that we need to make amends for. Miss Jenny, did you want to weigh in? All right, Miss Jenny may not be available. We're going to go to the next question. Now, how are you planning to go about making the amends? Now that you've identified some behaviors that maybe you've had or some things that you neglected to do, how are you going to go about making the amends? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share. Well, in Miss Bianca sharing, she shared how she made it through an apology. She apologized to her son. Miss Susu shared, she have apologized to some of her children already and have been restored. Now we talk about making the amends, so we identify acknowledging and being accountable and apologizing to them. That's owning up to what I've done or neglected to do. So that's one way. Let's say, for example, that the person that you need to make amends to is no longer with us. What's some ways that you can make amends to them? Because sometimes we're so engraved in indulging in our unhealthy behaviors that time goes by and that person we stole from or lied to or didn't show them the love or the love in the fashion that they should have, that person has gone on to glory, or they're no longer reachable or any of those things. You're not able to meet them, to share with them your repairing of the relationship? What are some ways that, because remember, this is for us. Of course, we want to repair the relationship, but we can't let that be our goal focus, because then someone has power over whether you feel acceptable in your own sight, whether you free yourself or not. So we can't give them that power. Come on, please forgive me. I need to get to so-and-so so I can have them forgive me. No, this is for you. You are releasing it. Of course, our effort is to repair the relationship, but first and foremost, I have to release this for myself so that I can grow and develop. I'm being accountable for me as well as for your healing and edification. But what if that person's no longer here? Or maybe some of our behaviors consisted of maybe stealing. Maybe you was a booster. Maybe you boosted, or you stole from stores, you stole from people. Let's say that you've done some things, whereas it's on a corporate level. Maybe you stole from your job, or you falsified documents, and that was a part of your practice of life. How can we make amends for the people that we've wronged, whether they're a corporation, whether they're an individual, whether it's a small circuit or a large? How can we make amends? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
What I've heard is that from write letters and put them on balloons and send them up into the sky.
Awesome.
I've never done that before, but I've heard some say that that's what they've done. Now I have just sat and said a forgiveness prayer,
Mhm.
and that's how I've done it. But I've never did just let a letter, let it go on the balloon. But that's how I did mine. Another thing I wanted to say, that even in some of the stuff that I did that was really, really hard, and I know we got to pick our battles. We better know what we're doing, what we say would make amends, especially when it could be a life-threatening thing. You might
Yes.
think about that before you do it. Even with one of my situations of my life, I even went to a particular person and made amends. And that thing could have really, we were kind of already out there then, but it could have really turned for the worse. But I did it nonetheless. Whether I was crazy or whatever it was, but I did it nonetheless. But yeah, I just want to say that I got a cough.
Okay. And thank you for saying that. Thank you, thank you, thank you, because sometimes amends is not safe to do so. And that's why we have to think of some altered ways to make amends. Hey, buddy, my best friend, I've been sleeping with your wife for the last 10 years. It may not be something safe to do. So you may have to think of other ways to make amends. What's some other ways? Guys, that we can make amends. We talked about forgiveness, asking for forgiveness. And I love how Bianca says about, writing that letter and putting it in a balloon for those that have loved ones that are deceased now. When you were out there doing what you did, and you just was consumed by your compulsive behaviors, by your addiction, by your unhealthy behaviors, whatnot. Here it is now. You're getting your life together, you're making some changes, and you really want to say, I'm sorry for what I did, but guess what? They're no longer here. The last memory they have of you is of your old compulsive behaviors. So what's some ways that a person can make amends even in that? Like Bianca said, you can write a letter, put it in a balloon, and release it. Now, it's not like, and I don't know your belief system, whereas our loved ones that have gone on, But my belief system, according to the word, is in Revelation, it says the dead know not what the living is doing. So therefore, because they're in the bosom of paradise, they actually don't even care. They don't have no ill against you. It's not like, oh, I did that to grandmother and she's going to remember that in all eternity. No, not at all. But at the same time, we have to have an act that we can release. You know how sometimes you have done something and you say, oh God, please forgive me. And then you're like, oh God, please forgive me. Please, please, please forgive me. God, I go to church all year. God, I do this. I'm gonna help all the grandmothers across the street. It's like we feel like we have to do some sort of repentance. The act helps our mind to receive our own penance. So in that case, like she was saying, even I heard Miss Bianca say the forgiveness prayer. Whatever prayer she renders up to God, God, please forgive me. If that's satisfying to make the amends in places that you cannot, when it's unsafe to do so, when that person has gone on, if it's a corporation where your consequences may be greater than you're ready to face, those things we have to find an altered way to make amends. But you on the line, in what ways can you make amends in your situations? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
To me, you said all the ones where the person being here, but thinking about the persons that's not there, my thought is, is to repent of it as you have, and to do others better, even their loved ones or something, not to do the same thing, to others, but to do others what you would have did for those that you have wronged, to make it right. That just help others out. That's what I'm trying to say. To help others.
I love that, Miss Susu. Wow, I love that. Those that you cannot make those amends to, for whatever of the many different reasons there are, you can just live a better life. Treat others right. Whereas you didn't treat them, I won't say that you treated them wrong, but where the behaviors that you need to repent of are there, or behaviors that you neglected to do, those things that you need to make amends for, absolutely, we can definitely take the time to just live a different lifestyle amongst other people. So that is wonderful, whether it's in their honor or not. That is so wonderful. Thank you for that, Ms. Susu. That was excellent. That was very wise. Just live a better lifestyle. I'm not living that right. My amends to that individual is me living a healthier life, not walking in those behaviors again. I love that. Thank you so much. Anyone else? I want to ask you another question. So, does being in recovery from your compulsive and unhealthy behaviors, do you feel that's enough? Do you feel that's enough? I like how Ms. Susu said, for someone that's unreachable, maybe they're no longer in this dimension of time, maybe just living a better life, healthier life, abstaining from the behaviors that you walked in that offended them or caused that relationship to need repair. What is it that we can do? What is it that we've identified that we need to do to make those amends, and are we doing them? But how is it? What the question is, do you feel like being in your recovery is enough, or do you need to do more to make amends? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share. Is being in your recovery from your unhealthy behavior, do you think that's enough? Now I'm not manipulating. Is that enough? Now I'm not enabling. Is that enough? While you think about that, I'm going to go to the next stage. But just think about it. Is that enough? Am I okay with just making amends? Like I was saying before, sometimes we don't feel like it's enough. We feel like I got to do more. Me just saying, Lord, forgive me. Okay, you're forgiven. Ah, da, 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 da. No, I got to give 12 turtle doves and 12 Hail Marys. I got to do something different. I got to do something because sometimes we feel like the act is freeing us. So what do you feel like maybe there's some act that you need to do? Is me just living in change enough? And I'm not saying that it is enough, and I'm not saying it's not enough. This is an individual question. Is my form of amends enough? Am I okay? Has it relieved me? Is it enough? I'll use the example of my former client where the child was approached with this by this family member, excuse me, in an inappropriate way. Now, I don't know if the whole act went down or not, but the family member that witnessed it and was too consumed in their addiction to do something about it, they felt terrible. So when they made the amends, however they made the amends, I wonder, was it enough? Or did they say, hey, I need to live this lifestyle to protect you now? Or I'm just going to live this better lifestyle so that I can be cognitive and available and aware and able to protect my family. I wonder how far the amends went. So is now being in recovery, living this healthier life, is it enough? It's up to you. Go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
Bianca, for me, I would say yes. I feel like that I've done what I can do,
Mhm.
and I went through the feeling bad, the guilt, the shame, you know, definitely being remorse about it.
Mhm.
And so I feel like today I've done everything that I possibly can do. Not going to allow the situations or maybe even the people to
Mhm.
cause me to keep reliving it
Yeah.
over and over and over again and sending me back to that place, where it all started. Where
Yes.
at that particular time, I wasn't doing anything to try to make amends, or I wasn't trying to be healed from it. But today, I'm not going to allow that situation or those people to keep reminding me,
Yes.
oh, you did this. Because guess what? What I found out in this life, that out of all the good that you do, that one thing that you did bad, people gonna keep reliving that. There are some that will keep bringing that up and keep bringing that up. But you
Mhm.
gotta be confident in yourself. You gotta be good with yourself. So when that stuff start coming up, you
Mm.
gotta be good at where you stand at to say, you know what, you're right.
Yeah.
I did do that. But you know what? I've also apologized for that. I repented for that, and I am moving forward. So those is what I would say.
Hey, excellent, excellent. That's a healing process. Like you said, you may hear it again. People sometimes hold on to the person that they knew. If they knew you and your unhealthy behaviors, then that's who they knew. That's who they knew. And when you move on in life and you change and you come back, that they still know the old person, that old you, that old form of you. And some people hold it against you intentionally. It's just the will of others. But guess what? One thing about it is I can see my recovery steps and my proof of recovery so much so that my healing begins to show in different ways and in greater ways, and my self-worth and my value is beginning to be restored. And after a while, as those healing virtues take place, when you do face those people that want to oppose you or that want to hold your past against you. You can look at them and smile and say, yes, I did that. We're not running from the truth. And this is how come acknowledging behaviors that we've done, though they may not seem so pleasant, though they don't seem so, I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to talk about it. It's not so much that it's talk worthy, but the fact of the matter is they are mine and I'm going to be accountable for them. We are human. No one makes all right decisions. No one makes all of the right decisions. So therefore, I've made some bad decisions. Some may be worse than others. But I have to come to a place where I identify it, I accept I did that, and I own it. I own it, and I make the amends that I need to make for other people so that I can walk in that change. So that I can walk in that change. And I want to ask you, who is it that you need to forgive? Who do you need to forgive? We've had some behaviors that we need to be accountable to and make amends for. But now, who am I holding unforgiveness for? You don't have to say names, but you can say the relationship of the person. Who do you need to forgive? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share. Everyone's gone through their forgiving process.
Yeah. Hey, so I thought about forgiving, I've been accused of a lot of things and stuff. So those that are, have out against me, I want to forgive them, but I want to know the reason, I don't like this distance, and stuff. So if I've offended someone, I want to know and I want to forgive, So I can't think of anyone offhand right now. Maybe a whole bunch out there though, but like I say, maybe coming up, maybe I thought I was right, But like I say, I stand corrected, So all those that I may have offended, I want to forgive. I don't know anyone offhand, but if anybody out there, Radio Land or Zoom Land or whoever, I want, I'm asking for forgiveness. So that's about it. I don't know.
Okay. Is there anyone that you need to forgive? I like how you said, I've been accused by a lot of people, and being wrongfully accused can build up some in our heart. I don't know about you, and everyone is different, but if someone keeps accusing me of this, that, and the other that I'm innocent of, there may be some unforgiveness that I have towards them. There may be some resentments that I have towards them. Who do you need to forgive and release the resentments for? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
I'm searching my mind. I ain't came up with nothing yet. It's probably there, but I'm searching my mind. I don't know.
Excellent. That's what it's all about. These are questions that help you think, help you search, and we're searching our hearts today because not only have we done some things, life shows that we're not just the only ones on the side of the fence that needs to make amends, but there are some people on the other side of the fence that in our hearts have put a bruise that they need to make amends to us. Someone that's harmed you, they've neglected you, they've misunderstood you. Every time you go to them, they see you in a wrong light. You may hold resentments against that person. And I want us to not look at the harshness of the word unforgiveness, resentments, but I want you to think about your feelings right now. We talked about our behaviors earlier, but let's talk about our feelings now. People that I'm having a hard time forgiving. Maybe they continue to bruise your heart. They continue to misunderstand you. They continue to accuse you. They continue to do wrong against you. They're crossing your moral line. They come to you in wrong ways. They do wrong things against you. And now, even though you're trying to live a healthier life right now, the fact of the matter is, inside, you're having some resentments. Oh, why do they do that? Oh, there's some resentments that are building up. Maybe some feelings, some ought, some areas of discomfort when it comes to that person because of how they handle me, how they view me. You know, some resentments maybe you need to release, some areas of forgiveness, some people that have wronged you, because sometimes those resentments keep us in our unhealthy behaviors. It keeps the circulation going. So anyone at this time.
Yes, I do, when you put it like that,
Good.
I do resent the fact of the same thing going over and over and over again. How do you treat me? How you handle me?
Mhm.
And as I say, I have asked them to forgive me for allowing that to be, So yeah, because it will build up, like you say, you got to pause them on it, but the hurt is there. It's still there,
Yeah.
especially when you keep going over and over. So like I say, I have to ask them for forgiveness for I have, for allowing me to allow you to do me this way.
Mhm.
So
Excellent.
um,
Go ahead.
that's it.
Okay, excellent. I was looking up, I was taking my phone off of airplane mode, and I was looking up a word to define resentments so that we can really search our heart in its proper definition and find it. And I love how Miss Susu said, hey, I've been accountable to my stuff. I've lived an open book. I can see how you feel that way. But at the same time, I've already asked for forgiveness on it, and you want to hold it against me. You want to keep bringing it up. That can bring resentments. I thank you for sharing that, because I've done what I knew to do, and you choose to hold it against me. So that can cause resentments. And I'm going to I'm going to read the definition of resentment. Resentment describes a negative emotional reaction to being mistreated. There is no one cause of resentment, but most cases involve an underlying sense of being mistreated in some way or wronged by another person. Experiencing frustration and disappointment is a normal part of life. So, with that definition, and let's see, bitter indignation at having being treated unfairly. Just as we've done some things, people have done some things to us that we may have some resentment for. So please, like Miss Susu, like she said, I've done everything that I can, but people choose to mistreat me. They choose to mishandle me. So now I need to release the resentment. Not just making amends. It's not just for us to always make the amends. I'm being accountable for my stuff, but I can't make another person be accountable for their stuff. So how do I release my resentments? Let's first identify them. Thank you so much, Ms. Susu. Anyone else? Who are some people you need to forgive, and what are the resentments you need to let go of?
Well, Bianca. Ooh, wait. I want to say that there is a couple people that kind of just grind my gears,
Mhm.
and that resentment is really a harsh word. But I'd be very irritated and frustrated
Mhm.
uh, with them, because like you said, you keep coming at me, you keep uh wronging me, you keep saying this, you keep saying that, no matter what I do, no matter how nice I try to be, you know, it's always, if I could say, not good enough.
Not good enough.
And so that just brings me to a place where I'm just like really frustrated,
Mhm.
like with the situation, with the person. Um, Still love them, but I'm just like frustrated. It's just, I don't know. That's the best I can say
Mhm. Mhm.
about it. And even though you read the definition of resentment, it just sounds so bad.
And it
It's
may do, but it is what it is.
it sounds so bad, but like you said, I'm not responsible for how people treat me, but I am responsible for how I treat people.
Yes.
I can't make people treat me a certain way, but I can not allow you to treat me that way. I
Right.
don't have to stand there and take that treatment either,
Right.
you know. And if I choose not to take that treatment, it doesn't make me less than a child of God, less than a human being. It don't make me no less than that. And that was something that I had to get my mind together about, you know, because I didn't want it to be like, I've ended up the bad person, you know, because I've heard so much of, and you supposed to be, I don't have a name after that. It's just that you supposed to be this or you supposed to be that. And
Mhm.
and you it's you required to be doing things a little bit more than what I'm required to do, all that kind of stuff. So, but again, I'm not responsible for all that, but I am responsible to not allow you to treat me any particular way. And I'm responsible to not allow you to treat me some kind of way where now I'm feeling some type of way also.
Right.
And I'm carrying the baggage around and you going on about life.
Right. Right.
All is good with you, and now I'm carrying the resentment.
Right. That's
Yeah.
it. That's right. Say it. Say it. Absolutely. You've mistreated me and now I'm carrying the baggage. I used to have this saying framed in my office, you finally got rid of the problem, but you allow the enemy to leave his bags of anger, guilt, shame, resentment, those things. So even though the situation is not current, or maybe the situation is a past, but the baggage that I carry, the residual, the residue of what's happened, how you make me feel and how you've mistreated me, that thing has to be addressed because now you've dumped in me and I'm trying to clear out my plate. I'm trying to clear out my heart, but I still got these things that how you've treated me. So I want to definitely be accountable for my behaviors, but I want to also empty out the baggage that life and people, it's okay to say, people have caused me to feel. People might say, I can't cause you to feel some kind of way. You within yourself can't, but how you treat me and how you handle me will create a baggage in my heart if I'm handled incorrectly. Some marriages break up, some best friendships break up, some employment break up. So many different agreements and covenants break because of how you treat me. So it's okay. It's okay. And though resentment is a very heavy word, because we don't want to feel that we're carrying it, but we got to man up and face that maybe I am carrying resentment according to that person. And it's okay. It's okay. Just as we have violated someone with our behaviors or our neglect, likewise have someone violated us with their behaviors and their neglect. So it's okay. We just want to deal with it for ourselves. We want to remove the baggage as well as the ill behaviors. So that's awesome. Anyone else? What behaviors, who you need to forgive? What resentments do we need to let go of today?
I'm ready. I was gonna put on my hoodie. And waiting on my what you get.
I see that we're still thinking about it, and that's awesome. Let's continue to take that self-inventory. We want to not only identify how we've harmed others with our behaviors or lack of, but at the same time, we want to release the pain of how someone else did us and the feelings that we carry, the guilt, the shame. We want to release the, how you make me feel, where now I have some bitterness, I have some discomfort, I have some feelings inside because someone made me feel that way. And I've gotten rid of the situation. The problem no longer exists, but now I'm dealing with the residue of it. We want to let that go. And some of the things that we said today and how to make amends, maybe those same practices are ways we can let go of the resentment. Whether we type an email and don't send it, because sending it opens the door to another problem. I'm relieving my pain. I can make you accountable if I feel that I need to, because that person may not be ready to be held accountable. They may start to lie. I didn't do that to you. And then that's going to make you even worse. So sometimes writing a letter, just writing it out, getting the pain out. I went through a situation some years ago, even before I was married, and I didn't realize how much that situation stuck in my psyche. And years later, it just all of a sudden arose, and I didn't even understand what triggered the memory, but all of a sudden I started thinking about how I was wronged and how I was done wrong and how I was used and how I was abused. And it just consumed my thoughts. And one of the things I did, I didn't go back to that person and say, you know what, hey, I need to talk to you and this, that, and the other. I let that go because I'd already closed that door. I had to deal with the issues of my heart that was left behind that I didn't even know was still there. So I spoke with my husband about it. He was just downstairs watching the game, and I just opened up one day and I began to speak. And the words that he shared back with me were so comforting. I've been free ever since. There are other situations that I've had. I talked to my sister about it. I talked to a friend about it. And, sometimes it's in the feedback that you receive your release, or sometimes it's just releasing it, that you receive the weight being removed. But it's a power in confession. There's a power in the word of your testimony. There's a power in the blood of the Lamb. So let's practice the principles that we believe in, because they'll also free us in these times. Anyone else before we close out today? How you going to free yourself of these behaviors, make amends, and how you going to free yourself of these feelings, these resentments, and people you need to forgive? Anybody? All right, well, I guess we're done here for today. I want to say, guys, you guys are amazing. You're wonderful. You are phenomenal. Whenever you invest in yourself, it's going to be uncomfortable sometimes. It's going to be hard sometimes. Some roles, remember we talked about preparing for the trip. Let's prepare ourselves for a change. Let's prepare ourselves for those emotions that come up in life. Let's prepare ourselves for those things, because life change is not an overnight trick. But I want you to remember, just as I say here, all things are possible to them that believe. So God bless you guys, and have a great and prosperous day, and live free.